Welcome to our telecast. In today's telecast, we're going to go into the title called God's Prophecy, August 24, 2024, God's Final Warnings, Prepare for the Fall. Right below that, simply write down Revelation 14 and Revelation 15. And then for PowerPoint number 1, simply write down, be ready. For PowerPoint number 2, simply write tough times, difficult times. And for PowerPoint number 3, simply write the mark. And then somewhere in your paper, I want you to write down the moment where hatred, violence, persecution, lockdown, and not only violence on the earth, like never seen before. And at the beginning of this telecast, the glory of God said, there's coming a rude awakening. Then after that, the glory of God said the word awakening. And then he showed me the word shaken. And then the Lord just said retribution. And God, in the title called The Earth, it's on its last breath, the glory of God spoke very clear. Not only very clear, he made it very clear and very bold, making a bold statement that the glory of God said in the benediction, he said to all of civilization, and to world powers and world leaders, and to every born again believer, and to all of civilization, he said, prepare for the fall. But PowerPoint number 1, it's be ready. And you need not to try and get ready or make an attempt to get ready. You have to be technically ready, because there's so many things that are going to happen. There is something that the Lord did. He took my eyes and he shifted them into the realm of the Spirit. And he showed me 2 words. And those words were global pandemic. There is a global pandemic, a global crisis that causes a lockdown and a shutdown, and you got nothing but a repeat year like back in 2020. But this will be a whole different level. And what I mean by that you need to understand that also what's going to happen, it's the global collapse in the digital currency being put in place. But PowerPoint number 1, be ready. And the reason God wants me to come forward and not only warn all of civilization in God's final warnings in these final days, making one final call to all of civilization. The glory of God is saying there is coming a pandemic. There is coming a global crisis, and that we're inches away from not only seeing the rapture, but God forcing the hand and bringing the Antichrist on the world stage. So what is God saying? It's one of the questions that we should be asking ourselves. What is God saying to world leaders? What is God saying to all of civilization? What does God mean when he says, be ready? In other words, there is no second chance. And when I mean second chance, the glory of God is saying that time is basically running out. He did something before I went and said that. He opened my ear to hear the clock ticking. And you need to understand that sooner or later, there is going to absolutely be no sound whatsoever when it comes to that clock, because it's going to reach the midnight hour. And let me flex a little bit and say to you, it's already reached 0. We're in the midnight hour. We're in moments where you need to understand that we're going to see not only things like we've never seen before. He is showing me Matthew 24:21. But what is God saying? God is saying to every man, every woman, every husband, every father, every mother, every child, every youth pastor, every leader, and every leader around the world, that what's about to happen completely, drastically changes everything. Because I have said over and over, is there one year that shapes up the end or the end times or the final days of civilization? It is the year 2024, and understanding that any day now you're going to see the travailing and not only the pain begin to increase when it comes to that woman in Revelation chapter 12. Because God spoke to me several things that are so powerful. And just yesterday, as I was walking and pacing around my room, the glory of God said that I'm coming to take you in a whirlwind. Listen to what the Lord said. He said a whirlwind. And could we be any moment now from the rapture? Because PowerPoint number 2, it's tough times and difficult times. And then PowerPoint number 3 is simply the mark of the beast. Let's open our Bible and let's go to Revelation chapter 14. And we're going to pick it up in Revelation 14. Give me a minute to get there, but we don't have a whole lot of time because the grace of God is going to make a bold statement. There is coming a radical shaking. Not only a radical shaking, not only from top to bottom, bottom to top. And the grace of God said something to me 2 days later on August 26th at 1:12 p.m. that I'm going to speak on that title, God's Prophecy, August 26, 2024. And you need to pay attention and listen very closely. Because in Revelation chapter 14, we see here that in verse number 6, it says, "Then I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come." God is decreeing that judgment is about to begin. He said to me, judgment begins in the house of God. The Lord is making it very clear. You see in Revelation chapter 14, there in verse 7, that the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea, and springs and water. Then verse number 8, and another angel follows, saying, Babylon is fallen. It is fallen, that great city, because she has made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And you see the diabolical, satanic, seducing invasion. And I said about a week ago, we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the moment like Sodom and Gomorrah. We're going to see the final seduction, the final attack of Satan, that old ancient serpent. You're going to see that they're going to ramp things up. They're going to not only escalate things when it comes to civilization, the depopulation, the removing of believers and civilization and those that dwell on the earth. But the moment and the hour of judgment is coming, where the grace of God, I believe the Lord said something to me so powerful. And I want to go there because the Lord is also speaking right now while I'm in this chapter, Revelation chapter 14. He said to me that he's about to thrust the sickle on the earth. And remember, a few days ago, I did a title in which God said, the moment of the gathering. and he said that everything was right. And then he went on to say, the fig tree, this fig tree generation, it's about to be caught up in glory. And when I went caught up in glory, I saw an eagle with its wings spread. And God is saying to me, Exodus 19:4, he will bore us on wings of eagle and brings us to himself. The moment of what? In this present truth moment, where all of civilization will be completely caught off guard, but those that are completely not only awake, they know the time, they know the season, they understand the word of God, they understand how he moves, they understand that when God makes a proclamation and when he decrees and declares something, God means business. God is not any ordinary man. God is not some kind of Santa Claus that comes down from some chimney. God is God. The everlasting Father is putting everyone on notice that you need to understand. In this title called God's Prophecy, August 24, 2024, God's final warnings. We're reaching the finale. Remember, that's the word that he used several weeks ago. We're reaching the finale. Not only the finale where the Lord said to me, he's about to flex out. What does the Lord mean when he's about to flex out? That means that he's about to stretch his right hand and deal the blow. And I said a few days ago that God can literally blow you off the face of the earth. 1 minute you're here, the next minute he simply blew you away and he took away your breath. God is saying loud and clear, the moment when he removes the church, the moment of the rapture, and the moment when you and I need to be watching all the time. That's what the Lord says in Mark chapter 13, verse 37. PowerPoint number 1, be ready. PowerPoint number 2, tough times, difficult time. PowerPoint number 3, the mark. And then I told you to write below that violence and hatred and anger and violence and everything completely going into a whole different level. And he's showing me chaos, confusion. And I have said over and over for several years, the Lord said judgment. And when he just said judgment, he said to me, the Antichrist will appear on the earth very soon. Look what the Lord just said. Let's stop for a second. The grace of God said that the Antichrist will appear on the earth very soon, meaning that I have said over and over that the grace of God sent a very stern warning in the benediction of the title called The Earth is on its Last Breath. God is saying that I believe that he has every intention in the year 2024 to not only bring about one of the biggest surprise ever, and one of the biggest not only surprise, but God catching millions of God. The moment in which there's no click on the clock, the Lord is raising up a standard. And remember that the gates of hell shall not prevail. The Lord is about to cross you over the finish line. But the grace of God also wants you to understand that from Revelation 14, he said that he was about to thrust his sickle on the earth. Then he said a few days ago, the gathering. And I believe that Revelation 14 is an event that happens in the near future. And the Lord showed me these words. He said to me, and show me these words sooner than you think so. That's why I said back in 2020 that everything now is about to accelerate. Everything is in the moment where God will swiftly wrap things up. The moment in which God also brings the separation. And in the moment where the separation takes place, there is a moment of a great weeping and a great crying on the earth. Civilization does not realize believers and saints, those that are wander into the boonies, those that are wander into the desert, those that continue to backslide, those that are not even hearkening to the voice of God. The grace of God is saying, prepare now or you will never be prepared, and you will simply be left behind. Now I want to continue from Revelation chapter 14. It says in verse number 9, then the third angel followed them. Say with me. Then the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast in his image and receive his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Look, you need to understand that there is not a single human being on the face of the earth that will not know, or that is ignorant not to know, that when they start to implement and when they start to force the mark of the beast, you should know better than not to take the mark of the beast or receive the mark of the beast. It says that if anyone worships the beast in his image and receive his mark on his forehead or on his hand, it says in verse 10, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstones in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Then you can go ahead and read verse 11 and 12, because verse number 12 of Revelation chapter 14 says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Then verse number 13, then I heard a voice from heaven saying, right, blessed are the dead who died in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works follow them. Then verse number 14, then I looked and behold, say somebody, say with me, behold, a white cloud, and on the cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And then you need to understand that a few minutes ago, the glory of God went on to talk about that he was about to thrust his sickle on the earth. And remember, since the year 2020, in 2021, and in 2022, and in 2023, I said from Revelation chapter 15 that what you're going to see, it's a reunion, a celebration in the glory of God. Show me one word, the renewal, where your body goes from an corrupt body into an incorruptible body. Now you are standing in the presence of God in glory, because at the beginning of this telecast, God said there's going to be a rude awakening, and he said judgment begins in the house of God. God is decreeing, and in that decree and in that declaration, the glory of God is saying that any minute now, the saints will be standing at the judgment seat of God. And the glory of God just said to me, for the first time in a long time, he said to me, Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27 and 28, you're born one day, the next day you find yourself at the judgment seat. And the glory of God said, and everyone and all will give an account for your works and your actions. Every single thing that you did on the earth, every single word that you utter, every single thing that you said to anyone, God is going to judge you based on your works and your deeds and your action. And God is saying also to the church, to believers and the saints, get ready, because you're going to find yourself at the bema seat and at the judgment seat any moment now. Let me continue from Revelation chapter 14. Then it says that, and another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice. This is verse 15 of Revelation 14. To him who sat on the cloud, thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And remember, I don't want to keep repeating. The glory of God said in the title the earth is on its last breath. The glory of God talked about ripe. He talked not only about ripe, he talked about the fig tree, and he talked about the gathering, and also the glory of God begin to talk about concerning the rapture moment. I believe with all of my heart that within the next 60 days, listen to me, the Lord showed me the number 45. Within the next 45 days, I said 60, but he showed me 45. There is going to be a moment on the earth that will be so dark, and you need to pencil in 45 days from today. Because the glory of God showed me 45, I went on to say 60 days. But I believe that it may be sooner than you think so. Because every knee will bow at some point in the near future, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord of all. The Lord did something. He opened the window. He showed me an individual. That individual that I saw had the number 66, and the Lord said, the mark of the beast is coming, and simply there's going to be millions that are practically, God said the word to me and showed me the word, receive it, just out of comfort, just out of convenience, so that they won't suffer, so that they experience a life of the rich and famous. They're going to practically, because they want to live in a place of comfort, they're going to compromise. They're in a place of complacency. The Lord opened the window, showed me this individual, and he had the number 666 on the forehead, and now the Lord is showing me his hand with the mark of the beast and those numbers. You need to listen to what God is saying. And the Lord said, take heed. Look what he said. Take heed to his warning. I close with this. In Revelation chapter 15. It says in Revelation 15. Then I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues. Someone needs to tell somebody to wake up. Someone needs to begin to tell people and tell this whole world that it's time to wake up. Because, let me read verse number 1 of Revelation chapter 15. Then I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having 7 last plagues, for in them the wrath of God is complete. And then you can read verse number 2. It talks about concerning those who had victory over the beast, over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, standing on the sea of glass, having harps of God. Then verse number 3 said, they sing the songs of Moses, the servant of God, and the songs of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are your works, Lord, O God Almighty. Just and true are your ways, O kings of the saints. Who shall not fear you, O Lord, and glorify your name? For you alone are holy. For all the nations shall come and worship before you, for your judgments have been manifested. God's judgments are about to be manifested. And what you're going to also see pretty soon is the 7 angels having the 7 last plagues. For in them the wrath of God is complete. And God said something to me that he hasn't said in quite some time. And he said these are the words that the Lord said, that he will open the 7th seal. And he said, what's coming pretty soon is the rider on that white horse. God just said, what's coming soon is the rider on that white horse. And about 4 minutes ago, 3 or 4 minutes ago, the glory of God said what was coming on the world stage is the mark of the beast, but the Antichrist. This is what the Lord is saying. This title, God's Prophecy, August 24, 2024, God's final warning. God's not only final warnings, prepare for the fall, because remember at the opening of this telecast, he said what? A global pandemic, global crisis, people completely dropping dead. Completely not only dropping dead, there's no breath in them no more. But remember, there is a moment that when we get to Ezekiel 37, God releases his breath on those 2/3 or 1/3. There is a resurrection moment, including the one in Revelation chapter 11 when it comes to the two witnesses. I'm going to stop right here. But keep in mind, and this is what you need to know, that PowerPoint number 2 in this title, God's Prophecy, August 24th, God's Final Warning, Prepare for the Fall. I said that God is declaring and making it very clear that we're about to go into some tough and difficult time, but it's going to get dark outside. I'm going to leave it right here. May the Lord so richly bless you. Remember to click like, share, subscribe, hit on the bell to receive our latest telecast. And remember, I catch you on my next telecast of Catch and Go. God bless.